Okay, hello. It's time for a type of video I don't really do nowadays because I don't upload very often because horrible schedule. But today I'm gonna go and rank all of the One Piece arcs because you might all be wondering, hey, Mr. Minish, what were you doing this whole time when you weren't uploading videos? Oh, I was reading all of One Piece. So, now that I have read all of One Piece, I'm going to rank every arc in One Piece. And I have them all in order. So I'm just going to kind of rank them based on my opinion of them. And we have S plus, S, A, B, C, D. S plus being the best because I like S plus. Some people use SS. No, S plus makes sense. Oh, and obviously, if you haven't read One Piece, maybe don't watch this video because there will probably be some spoilers. I don't think there's gonna, well, there might be major spoilers. I'm not entirely sure. I'm gonna discuss them a bit. But you know, there might end up being some spoilers in there, so look out. So first we got Romance Dawn, and this is the opening arc. I think it's different in the manga and the anime though. I read the manga, and in the manga it starts with I think the whole Luffy leaving thing, and then it goes into him saving Zoro. I think is this arc. You know, this is a fine arc. It's a good like start. It wasn't enough to like get me into it though. I got into it and I think it was Orange Town that I stopped at and then I came back later and like binged the entire thing. But I think it's a good start. That's like a solid B for the beginning. Orange Town. So I like Orange Town a lot. I think it's a good arc. Looking back, it's a lot better than it was the first time I read it. And I do like how they have the little side story with like the dog. Like, that's a really nice touch, which really shows like the potential of One Piece and what it is capable of doing later on, which it acts on. Also, it's got Buggy the Clown. B for Buggy the Clown. Or actually, I'm actually gonna give it a C because I liked it. It's just kind of boring. Like they fight Buggy, and that's about it. But you know, it's fun. Sierra Village, however, is a D. Sierra Village is really boring. Um, I barely got through it. There's nothing like, there's no amazing emotional bits. It's just kind of, it's an arc. It's like on par with other shonen arcs. But you know, it's One Piece. So yeah, D tier. Because Captain Kuro kind of sucks. I don't like him very much. I liked Django a lot. Michael Jackson, hypnotist dude. But yeah. Also, I'm gonna check if I'm recording. I am. Okay, Baratie. I actually like Baratie a lot. It's a really neat arc. I don't. Don Krieg is a fine villain. I thought he was okay, but he does a good job of showing what the Grand Line is going to be later and how like dangerous it is. And I like the side story with Sanji and like Don Krieg's first in command. Like I liked that side story where like they kind of had a whole thing going on because he helped him, and then he had to help his captain, and like it's really cool. And I like a lot of the more minor characters in it, like Zeph, and there's the whole Mihawk thing. Ooh, A. Okay, currently we've got A, B, C, and D. Arlong Park. Arlong Park, I think, is when the series goes from being good to being great, with Nami's backstory and all that. And I think Arlong is a pretty good villain. Like starting out, he's not great, but once we kind of find out more about the fishmen and how they're actually viewed in the world, he really just comes into his own as a villain. And I can look back on this arc like, oh, hey, this was a really good arc. And yeah, I liked Nami's backstory a lot, and it had some really funny moments, and it had some great moments all around. And it's really when a lot of the themes of One Piece come out. Like they have the whole Fishman thing, and they have a lot of comparisons of different pirates, and they have like corrupted marines in this arc. Like they have a lot of stuff, and it's really good. Okay, Log Town. I actually like Log Town a lot. I'm gonna give it an A. I think it is a fun arc. Everybody kind of gets some moments at the beginning to just hang out. It's a short arc, it's not overly long. Buggy comes back, and that was super cool because it kind of shows like, hey, every character in this series is relevant. Um, hmm. Other than that, yeah, I think I'm just gonna put it in A. And then we have Reverse Mountain Whiskey Peak. I like Reverse Mountain a lot. I think this also has like the lagoon stuff. I actually really like that. I like how it comes back later. And yeah, Whiskey Peak is probably like the more it's Whiskey Peak. Like I like the island design and how like at first you think is like trees or whatever, and then they're like gravestones. Like I thought that was super cool, but there's not anything amazing about it. But I think it's a really actually the more I'm thinking about it, I'm bringing it back. I'm bringing it up to A. I like Reverse Mountain a lot. Okay, Little Garden. I think I'm gonna give this a B because I like Little Garden a lot, and I like a lot of the stuff in it. Like I like Mr. Free, and I like the Mr. Prince stuff where like Sanji calls him on the phone. Like that's a great moment. But other than that, there's not a huge amount that like stands out. Like whoa, the Little Garden's a fun arc, and it's the first arc where we get a really unique island other than like Baratier. And even then, it wasn't really an island; it was a boat. But Little Garden's like, oh hey, there's all of these. I think it's a good introduction to the Grand Line, and like, hey, here's a cool place where there's cool stuff in it. Speaking of cool stuff, we get Drum Island, which takes place on a frozen tundra place. That was a horrible pun. Okay. Drum Island. I think I'm gonna give it an A too, because I don't know. I like Drum Island a lot, but I think Chopper is probably the weakest member. Like not like power, like he's just the weakest, like he's the one I care the least about. But I really like his backstory a lot. And I like how we explore a large amount of the island. I like a lot of stuff about Drum Island, and I like how it sets up future stuff with like telling us about Blackbeard and stuff like that, but it's not anything like, oh, it's amazing. So A. And then Alabasta, I think, is gonna be the first S plus. Alabasta is such a good arc. It's got everything. It's got really good fights, it's got fun villains, it's got an interesting island that we explore. We explore the politics of it, we explore everything about it. It's a cool arc. I like Alabasta a lot. And a lot of the characters come back later. Like that's such a cool thing. Like Vivi is important in for the first part, and then we kind of get like some really good emotional moments from him. And it's a really good arc, and there's also some funny moments. Like again, more Mr. Prince. And like Usopp gets a really cool fight and stuff. And it's just I like that arc a lot. It's a good arc. Then we have a Jaya, and this might be my first controversial opinion. I'm gonna give it an S. I don't know if people like have super strong opinions on this arc, but I like Jaya a lot. I think it's a really cool setting of like, oh, it's a pirate island. There's no authority here. I think it does an amazing job of introducing Blackbeard. For one of the main villains, they do a really good job of just showing his thought process and philosophy in a very short amount of time. I think they do just a fun job of showing the island. I like how Jaya relates to Skypiea. I like Bellamy. Like he's not amazing, but I think he's got a fun power of just like, oh, I can jump high. And like I like how he has a battle of ideals with Luffy. Like that's a fun thing. Usually with arcs and stuff, I look more at the philosophical and like psychological aspects of it, and I think when One Piece gets into ideals and stuff, it's very interesting and cool. Okay, and now we got Skypiea, and I'm gonna give it an S. Skypiea, I think, is very long, and I think parts of it are kind of boring and not all that interesting. It took me a while to get through it, and I kind of just slogged through it. But when it gets good, it gets really good. It's got low lows, but it's got really high highs, and I really like the setting. Though, yeah, I like the setting, but most of the time it's just like, oh, hey, we're in a jungle. Like, I wish they would have explored the cloud stuff further instead of just, there's a big chunk of land, and that's where like over half of the story is gonna take place. because they didn't do a whole lot with that. Well, they did a lot with it. They just I wanted more, and I liked the what were they called the technology they had on there, where it was like their version of electricity and stuff, and that was really unique and cool. And I liked Enel a lot as a villain. I didn't really like his minions. I thought they were lame and forgettable, but I liked Enel a lot. Okay, another controversial opinion time. A Davy back fight. I'm dropping it in A. So I really like that arc. I think it's funny, it's quick, and it's just an entertaining, fun time where we kind of see, hey, not all of the villains are smart or strong. They can just kind of be clever and pathetic and bad at stuff, and they can still get stuff done. And I like Foxy as a villain because I think he's kind of a dork, but he's the type of villain I like, who's just, oh, I'm gonna scheme, and that's about it. That's all I can do. It's a really funny arc. Like I laughed a lot. Like Afro Luffy is in this arc. And we get some cool character development, where like Sanji and Zoro team up. And I do kind of like the idea of like, oh yeah, it's an island and it's all in rings, and they have to migrate from them. Like that's really cool. Oh, and we get what's his name? Aokiji. We get Aokiji in that arc. And I like Aokiji a lot. Okay, Water 7 is gonna be a solid S plus. Water 7's great. Like, I like Frankie a lot in this arc. I don't really like Frankie post time skip, but like pre time skip, Frankie's great. I like the villains in this arc a lot. I like how it's kind of a mystery. You don't know who the villains are, and then they come out. And then I feel like the ending with the train, like that's super cool. The train is just awesome. It's a really cool set piece, and they do a lot with it. And yeah, I need to reread Water 7 and Ennis Lobby, but like it's so good. It's really good, solid arc, and it's definitely on par with Alabasta just because it has really good, strong emotional moments. Oh, and it's got Usopp versus Luffy. I forgot about that. Like, Usopp is my favorite member of the crew, and that fight is what pushed it over for me. Then Ennis Lobby is going to be the same. Like, Ennis Lobby's great. It's got some of the best emotional moments in One Piece. It's got really great fights. It's got everything. And yeah, it's got like 3 or 4 really heavy emotional moments back to back. Got like all the Robin stuff. It's got Robin's backstory. It's got the Going Merry. Like it's got so much good stuff in there. So S plus. Thriller Bark. I don't know where to put Thriller Bark because I like Thriller Bark a lot, but I don't know if it's an A or an S. I'm gonna put it an S because it's hilarious. I also really like I like this kind of goofy horror thing they're doing. And when Kuma comes in, the arc goes from pretty good to amazing. I like the fights in this arc, actually. They have some good fights that I think are kind of underrated. Like it's really good. Like the villains in this arc I don't think are super threatening, but I think they're fun. Like I like Gecko Moria. I think he's just a fun idea because not every villain can be the strongest, and they do a good job of like hyping up Kaido, and they like foreshadow Big Mom, and they foreshadow all the Yonko and stuff in this arc, and they foreshadow a lot of stuff. And yeah, and I like the fights. Like I like when they all had to fight Oz and Gecko, and I liked how what and I liked when Usopp had to fight Corona and like that kind of stuff. I liked Zoro's interaction with Kuma, and Kuma's just a good villain and a good character. Not even a villain, because he's not really a villain, but he's a great character. So yeah, I'm gonna put it in S. Sabaody. I'm gonna give this a B. I like Sabaody a lot, but I think it's kind of short, and it does a really good job in the main thing it's trying to do, which is set up the worst generation. And I think it does an amazing job of making them all interesting, giving them enough screen time so you remember them. But when I look back on like arcs in One Piece, I don't think of this as like a full arc. It just feels like the transition, which it is, but it's gonna be a B, but it's really good. Amazon Lily is also gonna be a B. I like this arc a lot. I like Boa as a character a lot, but I don't think there's like anything super amazing about this arc, but it's like pretty good. It's above average. B for Boa. Okay, Impel Down's gonna be an S plus. Impel Down, so I love like Prison Breaks stories, and for Impel Down is such a good prison break, and it has all of these layers and stuff, but it's very interesting. And I love how they every layer they go down, it's different, and every one it brings back like an old character. Like, oh hey, you go to the first one, Buggy's there. You go to the next one, Bon Clay's there. Like they keep going down and bringing back characters, and it's a very good build up. And the end, it builds up to a really good conclusion. And Blackbeard finally gets to do things, and it's just a really good arc, and it builds momentum from the previous arcs and builds up to Marineford, which is also going to be an S plus because Marineford is possibly my favorite arc in One Piece. It's just everything comes together from the rest of the series. It all comes together and makes something amazing, and all the action and the emotion is there, and it's wonderful. Like I love Marineford. Like it's such a good it is such a good arc. Like I don't even know what to say about Marineford because everything is built up so well up to it. And I love how it's not like a good ending for heroes. Like this could have just been, oh hey, you power of friendship and everything's fine, but it's not. Like they lose. They fail at Marineford. And they fail even worse than like what they thought the worst case was. Like it's such a good arc. And Doflamingo gets some good moments in this. At the end, he like tries to take out Gecko Moria. Like it's a really good arc, and that's why it's S plus. Return to Sabaody is this even an arc? I'm gonna give this a C. I think it's fun. I like how they go back and there's like all these guys dressed as the Straw Hats, like using their reputation. That's an interesting way to go. And I do think the Kuma moment in this is so good because, like I said, I love Kuma, but I think it's a C. Okay, Fishman Island. I don't know. I don't know. It's gonna be an A. It's gonna be an A because I think the themes and the way it goes about it and the backstory in this are so good. I don't think anything else is all that interesting though. The villains are fine. I don't hate what's his name? The villain of this arc. I've heard like I don't think people like him all that much, but I like him a lot. The shark dude, like he's not one of my favorites. Like I can't even remember his name, but I think how they used him as like, hey, all this hate and prejudice can and will be passed down for the generations is a really interesting way to take the theme. I think they did a really good job with it. And it brings like Arlong into it, and it's a solid arc. It's not like the best, but it's so good. It's just it's really wonderful. But yeah, Fishman Island, an A. And then Punk Hazard, I don't know where to put Punk Hazard. I like Punk Hazard a lot. I'm gonna put it in. I'm gonna put it in S. I really like the setting of like Fire and Ice. I like Caesar as a villain. I think he's fun. I like kind of the mystery of it, where they build up to like, oh hey, here's what's going on. I actually really like the minor villains in this arc. I think Virgo and Monet are both fun minor villains, and I kind of wish they got more screen time. Like, they're minor villains I want to know more about, and instead we just don't. Like Monet especially. They have a cool power, and then they're just like, nah, they don't get to do anything, explode. I do like that ending though. It's an interesting ending. And then the ending to the arc as a whole with Aokiji and everybody like leaving. Oh, and Smoker's in this arc. Yeah, no, this is a good arc. I like Punk Hazard a lot. I like how it was made in this fight between Aokiji and Akainu. Like it's neat. And it built up to Dressrosa, which is an S plus. So I love tournament arcs, and this one has a tournament arc thrown in randomly. When I saw that, I was like, "Oh, it's a tournament arc! It's a fun tournament arc, and everybody in it is relevant and important." And they bring back Bellamy and Doflamingo, and Law's backstories are so good. They are absolutely fantastic backstories. Oh, for Thriller Bark. Okay, Brooke's backstory is why it's an S. I forgot about Brooke's backstory. But yeah, no, Dressrosa is a fantastic arc, and like it's really long, but I think it really builds up, and it feels like they did Alabasta again, but like better. Like I really like Dressrosa a lot, and it does a really good job trying to develop all of these characters and giving them all arcs, and they have so many that they're able to. Zoe, I think, is like a C. I like Zoe, but like I don't really like the Minx all that much. They aren't all that interesting. Jack was okay as a villain, but he's there. Like, oh, hey, I'm Jack. I'm gonna get. Oh, I got beat up. I like the whole like Rizo isn't here stuff, and I like the idea of it. I like Zoe as a concept. It's super cool. It's not one of my favorites. Whole Cake. I like Whole Cake a lot. We get some awesome Sanji moments in this. I think the villains are all very interesting. I like the dynamic of like Big Mom and like, oh hey, her crew is all her children and they all kind of fight and stuff and they got all this stuff going on and it's just really fun. I like that dynamic and I like Whole Cake as a concept and Jinbei gets some really cool stuff in there. Like it's a good arc. I like it and I like how we explore the different areas of the island. Oh, and Beige. Beige is there. I like Beige a lot. Yeah. Oh, it's a good arc. And then okay, Wano. So Wano is not done, but as of now, I'm gonna give Wano an S. Like the amount of culture and history Oda has thrown into Wano is astounding, and the fact that it's not even done is so amazing. Like you could tell he had so much passion for making this, and it's amazing. Wano is just such an interesting place that it feels like a real place. I'm sure it's based very heavily off of feudal Japan, but it's still very interesting and it has a lot of interesting stuff that's explored. And I like Kaido as a villain. He's very cool, and I want more of him because he's very interesting. I like that whole aesthetic. But yeah, overall, let's grab this. Overall, this is my rankings of One Piece. I think I put a lot in S plus, but that's just because One Piece has really solid arcs. Like One Piece is really good. And if you watched this and haven't read One Piece or watched it, go do that right now, please. Go do that right now. But yeah, maybe I'll try to actually keep a consistent upload schedule. But until next time, goodbye.